Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's session. In today's session, we are going to see the domestic wiring. In domestic wiring, this is module 3, second part. We are going to see the service mains. What is the meaning of service mains? Meter board, distribution board. Brief discussion on the concealed conduit wiring. Very important question from the exam perspective. Two-way and three-way control of the load or the lamp. Then elementary discussion on the protective devices such as fuse and miniature circuit breaker MCB. This is also one important question, fuse and the MCB. Then what is electric shock and precautions against the shock, again important. And very important question, what is earthing and pipe and plate earthing. So this completely it is a theory based, there are no problems, so that the way it will be a little easy. Okay. So what is the meaning of the service mains? So service mains is nothing but tapping of electrical energy from the suppliers to the consumer premises, or it means providing the electrical power supply from existing pole up to the meter board. So if you have a, like if you are seeing like your houses, there is a connection between the wires that are outside. Okay, that is a HISCOM wires. From there, we tap. So we take, because it is a three phase, we take one of the phase and neutral, and those two wires will come to our house. So there are two main means of coming, taking that wire, and that wire comes to your meter board. Okay, inside your house you will be having a meter board. You must have seen the energy meter there, right? Main switch would be there, main fuse would be there. So getting a connection from the supplier, electricity supplier, that is called as a service mains. And there are two types of service mains. One is a overhead service mains, and one is a underground service mains. So in case of a overhead service mains, what happens is, you must have observed in many houses. Some houses will be having like a wire hanging from the pole to directly to your house. Okay, so this is the pole. You can see these are the two wires. Okay, a phase and the neutral, and then these round things, you can see these are the circular round things. Those are called as a reel insulator. So just you can imagine this as a small cylindrical insulator, and inside that cylinder, after the step, this wire that goes inside that cylinder. Okay, so all these are, whatever the round things you are seeing is a reel insulator. Okay, and similarly the another wire, that is a phase, it goes to the all the reel insulators, and the reel insulators are connected by a wire. So, okay, inside the reel insulator the live wire goes, and outside there will be a wire. So you can see outside there is another wire, and it will be hanged to, this is called as a messenger wire. So it is like these things are hanged here, these two, using a small wire, these two reel insulators are connected, and they are connected to this messenger wire, and they will be hanging to give the mechanical support. All these structures are like that. And if you see here, this messenger wire is nothing but to give the mechanical strength, means to support this wires. Okay, and you can see here it is connected from the pole. Then there is a one more break insulator, because why we are using so many insulators is, we don't, these are the live wires which conduct electricity. We don't want that if there is any, by any case, if there is any conductor is open by any means, it should not uh, get in contact with any of these wires. Okay, so these wires shouldn't be, these are meant for the mechanical support, and there should not be any live electricity flowing in these wires. That is why we have to insulate them. So you can see here, from pole there is a insulator, then we have the wire. So this and this are insulated, so there is no way electricity will pass here. Similarly on the this side, we have a insulator that is called as a break insulator, and that is, then we connect it to the this PVC bend. So it is a PVC bend. This wire, two live wires will go inside this PVC bend, and through that it will go to the meter board. So this is the meter board. So this is how the overhead service connection will be given. There are many advantages and disadvantages of this type of service connection. The So same thing is explained here. The important advantages of the overhead service means is a first is it is a cost effective, means to do this it doesn't take much of the work, so it is cost effective, easy to erect. Fault location and correction is very easy. Suppose if there is any fault in that, okay, the connection from the pole to your house, if there is any faults in between, we can visually inspect and we can fix it. So if there is any problem, it can be easily fixed. Only service cables can be replaced in case of a additional power requirement. Suppose let us say your household or requirement increases, means your power consumption increases, then if we replace the cable with a higher capacity cable, that can be done very easily. So additional power requirement can be met very easily. Disadvantages. So disadvantages, appearance is not good. Means in front of our your house, you will be seeing the wires hanging, and appearance wise, it is not good. And because it is open, it is exposed to the weather conditions such as rain and sun. So this your connection is impacted by all the weather conditions, right? There rain or sunshine. So that is the one problem. Not safe due to either branches of a tree falling or birds or animals running over the line. So this is not very safe, because it is outside. There is a chance of any mechanical damage, right? Such as like a tree falling or any events that can happen. So that's how the safety is not very high. May get affected by lightning surges. So lightning surges, because it is exposed, it is in the open, there is a chance it might get affected by the lightning surges. Then there are the second type of a connection, that is underground service connection. In case of a connection, in case of a underground connection, you can see, like, you will not see any wires in front of your house, okay. Everything goes inside the ground, under the ground. You can see here the same two live wires, phase and the neutral, service mains wire. Then you will have a cable box. It will get connected to the cable box, and from there the cable will run, okay. The cable will run from that point, and it will go down. So they will dig the ground about 2 feet or 2.5 feet, and all the inside the ground, when it goes, we put a GI wire, okay, galvanized iron pipe, okay. The GI, inside the GI pipe, the cable will go. So this is the GI pipe what you are seeing. Inside the GI pipe, the cable will go, and uh, then it will come on the other end. So we will be having the bend, using the bend, and that is also GI pipe, PVC pipe. The cable will come out and it will come to the meter box, and on top of this they will put the concrete. So this will be very high strength. The PVC pipe will be there, or GI pipe, whichever you prefer, that can be used. On top of this they put the concrete. So you will not see any connection, any wire that is hanging between you, the pole and your house. Everything goes inside the ground, and it come to the meter box. So this type of connection has similar to the overhead service means. There are advantages as well as disadvantages. Advantages: appearance is good and not affected by the weather, okay. Because everything is underground, appearance is it doesn't impact the appearance of the your house. It will not get impacted by the weather because it is underground. rain, sun, all those weather conditions are not impacted and not affected by any kind of birds or external entities. So there is no chance of a mechanical damage, right? Because it is under the ground. But there are disadvantages because we have to dig the ground and we have to make all those arrangements. The cost will go high. And another problem with this kind of a connection is if there are any fault under the ground, you will not be able to detect. If there is any fault, everything has to be digged up again. We have to open everything and see where the fault is, and not easy to erect. So it will take time to do the erection. Those are the disadvantages. But normally, if it is underground, the chances of fault happening is very very less. So it will have a very very good life. Maybe it will go for 20-25 years without any problem. A meter board and the distribution board. Meter board, this is called as a meter board from service mains. So from the service mains, the wires will be connected to the meter board. So inside the meter board we have the energy meter. You can see it is the energy meter. This is phase and this is neutral, and it is connected to the energy meter. And from energy meter, this is the phase connection that is connected to the fuse, and fuse is connected to MCB, and we have the switch, okay, double pole switch. And double pole switch, this is the phase, one end is connected here, the neutral is connected to here. This DP will make these 2 points to connect. So this switch, whenever you turn on, it will connect this point and this point and this point and this point, so that you get the connection to your house. Now meter board, the wires come from the service mains, and from meter board, these two connection will go to the distribution board. And what is a distribution board? If you have seen inside your house, there will be meter board. From there, the wire goes to the distribution board, and inside the distribution, every part of your house will be separated. So it will be distributed. You can see this is the phase wire which is coming from the meter board. Okay, that is connected to the one end of the MCB, and it is connection is given to each through each MCB, your each part of the house, for example hall, bedroom, kitchen, those things will be connected. You can see this is connected to hall, bedroom, kitchen. Okay, various part that will go to the distribution board. If you have experience, suppose like something goes wrong in the bedroom, you come back to the distribution board and you will check whether the MCB has a tripped, right? So if MCB is tripped, and if there is no problem with the connection, if you put it back, you will get the supply to bedroom. Okay, this is the single line diagram of the same thing. It is coming from service mains to the energy meter. Okay, phase and neutral. This is neutral and phase. From phase, you take connect it to the fuse. Okay, and fuse. What is a fuse? Fuse is nothing but it's a protective device. The fuse will allow the current to flow in a like whatever is the rated current that is allowed for your house. Let us say 10 amperes is the maximum current that should be given to your household. So it will operate without any problem for up to 10 amperes, and beyond which it will fuse, it will break, means it will be having a material which will fuse for the temperatures above 100 degree. That is how it will disconnect the electrical circuit. Then from here it goes to MCB. MCB is a miniature circuit breaker. Whenever there is a fault, it will be tripped. So it can be used as a switch, it can be used as a protective device, and from there it is connected to the double pole switch, and from here it goes to the distribution board. This is the distribution board. Different parts of the houses is connected. Okay, meter board consists of energy meter, fuse, MCB, and double pole switch. Energy meter measures the power consumptions. Fuse and MCB are used for the safety purposes to protect from the short circuit current. DP switch is used to isolate the power from the load and supply mains. The circuit diagram for the meter board is, we already saw. The fuse, MCB and DP switch ratings are selected from current rating of the total load. And figure 4 shows the single line diagram which we saw. The phase terminal of supply mains from DP switch is connected to a distribution board. From distribution board, phase is subdivided and connected to load by the sub-circuits. The sub-circuits are connected through the protective devices to protect the sub-circuits using the MCB or the fuse. That is what is the done in the distribution board. There are different types of wiring. If you see, if your house is newly constructed, you will not see any kind of a wire inside your house. Everything is concealed in the walls. All the wiring is concealed in the walls, so you will not see any wiring, but you will just see the points, like wherever there is a load points are there. Lamps, for the lamp you will see the outlet, and you will see just the buttons on the wall, not the wire. But if you have observed in your classroom, in your college, you see the wires outside, right? That is that type of wiring is called as capping and casing. So there are many different types of wirings are used based on the requirement. Based on the requirement, every type of wiring has associated advantage, disadvantages. So there are these are the different types of wirings: cleat wiring, CTS or TRS wiring, conduit wiring, casing and capping wiring, then concealed wiring. In case of a cleat wiring, if this wiring was, it's a very old type where they used to use the porcelain cleats. Okay, so porcelain cleats, there will be two pieces of the porcelain cleat, and they will be having a groove which will hold the cable, and this cleat is inside those grooves the wires will be put, and this the cleat will be fixed to the wall. And that kind of a wiring is the cleat wiring. And in case of a CTS or TRS wiring, these wires are fixed on T-code battens with the help of a brass thin clips. Wire is placed on wooden batten. This wiring is cheaper than case and cap and conduit wire. If you have visited any your like places, if you have in villages or anything, you might see some type of this type of a wiring. There would be a wooden piece on top of that. The wires will go, and they will put a clip, so that wire will be holded to the that wooden clip using wooden piece using the clips. Okay, so that type of a wiring is called as a CTS or a TRS wiring. Conduit wiring. So conduit is we in this case the PVC pipes will be used. So those PVC pipes, inside the PVC pipes, the wire will be put, and using the clamps it will be fixed on the pipe. And for all the bends and everything, they use the like bends, the T's, all those things are used wherever the turn is required, elbows are used. So this type of a wiring is the cost is a little higher compared to this type of wiring, but it is cheaper than capping and casing or the concealed wiring. Casing and capping wiring, the one which you have in your classrooms, that is we can open. So we have capping and casing. Okay, the casing will be, the case will be fixed onto the wall. Inside that wire will run, on top of that cap will be put. The advantage of this type of wiring is, you can, if there is any need, you can immediately open the cap, and you can put additional wire and put additional points. All those can be done without any problem. But in case of other types of wiring, it is very difficult. In case of this casing and capping, we can open the top cap, and we can put another set of wire and another load points we can give. But and also it is very easy to locate the faults, because we can open the caps, we can check where the fault has occurred. Next is concealed wiring. Concealed wiring, all the wiring goes inside the wall. So they will be using the PVC pipes. They will be using the elbows, T's, and inside the wall, wiring will go that. And on top of that, the wall will be covered. Okay, this type of a wiring gives a very beautiful look. Okay, for all the houses, they use the concealed wiring. And the disadvantage is like appearance is good. The disadvantage is cost is very high. And if there is any problem, okay, maintenance cost is less, but if there is any problem, we have to break the wall and open the wiring and just check. But normally this type of wiring will be having a very long life. Normally nothing will happen to them, because they are concealed in the walls. No problem will occur, no damage will occur. Hence they will have a very long life. Okay, two-way control of a lamp, it's also called as a staircase wiring, or one lamp controlled from two different places. This is very important question from the exam perspective. Um, if this question is asked, what is expected is a correct circuit diagram, correct switching table, and the correct explanation. Now, most important thing is it is connected to the power supply. Most mistake I will tell you in the exam, they will not give this power supply. Okay, this will be like the straight line, and then bulb and rest of the things. So technically, if evaluator has every right to give 0 marks, make sure that you are giving a power supply. Okay, this is phase and neutral. This is the AC supply you are giving from one end of the supply. It gets connected to the lamp, and the other end of the lamp is connected to one two-way switch. So this end of the supply is connected to one more two-way switch. There are two-way switches are used to achieve the two-way control of the lamp. So this is a staircase wiring. If you are living in a building, you must have noticed there will be button at the lower end of the staircase, one button at the upper level of the upper level of the staircase. From both levels we can control the lamp. Either you can switch the lamp on and off from lower level of the staircase, or you can control on and off from the upper level of the staircase. So two switches are used in normal traditional switch. So single way switch, either it is on or off. So inside your house it is on or off, only two positions are there, means either it will connect or it will not connect. But in case of a two way switch, in one position it will connect to one line, and if you put it in another position it will connect to another line. So just imagine there is a no connection here, no connection. This switch can connect to either this or this. Based on how what position you have pressed, it will make connection here or here. Similarly, this switch, it can connect to here or here. So those are the two possibilities are there. Now, when you give the power supply and assume the two-way switch is in position number one, okay, and switch two is also in the position number one. Now, what happens? There is a path. So this is the phase, and so you can see there is a closed path. So current will flow. That is how the lamp will glow. So in the truth table, you can see switch 1, position 1, switch 2, position 2. So it makes a complete closed circuit. Electricity will flow. So it will on the lamp. Now, the switch number 1 is at this position, and you change this switch position to number 2. Okay. Now what happened? You can trace it. So it will come here. Switch 1 is connected like this. Okay, it will go here. Now this switch is connected to 2, so there is a break. That's why the lamp would be off. There is a no closed path, so electricity will not flow, so current will not flow. Similarly, if this switch is in position number 2 and this is also in position number 2, there is a flow. The circuit is closed. Okay, you can see there is a path for the flow of electricity. The lamp will be turning on. Suppose this is in position 2, this is in position 1. Then if you trace it, it will come like this. Now this is in position 1. So there is an open circuit here. Current will not flow. So lamp will be off. So same description. So once in the exam, based on the how much it is, how much marks it is asked for, you have to give the circuit diagram, correct circuit diagram, then the switching table and the explanation. Now, three-way control of the lamp. In case of a three-way control of the lamp, we have two-way switches. This is one two-way switches, and this is another two-way switches, and one more switch is used, SW3, that is called as an intermediate switch. How does the intermediate switch work? So, two-way switch, either it will connect to this position or it will connect to this position. Two-way switch, how does it work? Either it will connect in the way it is shown in the diagram. Now one position, A will connect to D, C will connect to B. In another position, if I switch it to another position, A will connect to B and C will connect to B. So if you want to control a lamp from three different places, where it is used, for example industry, they have a big construction hall for doing some kind of operations, and they have lamps or any kind of a load they have, and they want to control it from three different places, then they can use three-way control of the lamp or a load. Circuit diagram, one end of the power supply is connected to one end of the lamp, other end of the lamp is connected to the second two-way switch, and one end of the switch is connected to the one end of the SW1 two-way switch. Now the positions connections you have to remember. Switch one position terminal is connected to A, 2 is connected to C. Similarly, switch intermediate switch B is connected to position 1, terminal 1 of the switch 2, and the D terminal is connected to the terminal 2 of the two-way switch SW2. So this connection is very important. Now there are many possibilities, right? In case of a two-way control, we had the 4 possibilities. Here we will have about 9 possibilities of different position. Now first is switch is position number 1, switch 2 is also position number 1, and let us say the switch, this intermediate switch is A is connected to D and C is connected to B. If you see here, if you trace the path, we can go like this. A is connected to D and we come here. The switch 2 is connected to position 1. So there is no flow of current. So lamp will be off. If I change the switch position from 1 to 2, the lamp will turn on. Or switch 2 is in position number 1. I change the position of this. I will connect A to B and C to D. Then there is a path for the flow of the current. Again, electricity will flow. If I move the switch 1 from position 1 to 2, again there is a break, right? The break means what? Lamp is off. Again, if I put this particular, now it is in 2, if I put switch number SW2 to position 2, again there is a path for the flow of the current, again current will flow. So either from this switch I can control on and off, from here I can control on and off, from here I can control on and off. This is the three-way control of the lamp. So these are the positions. So switch position number 1, switch position first initially 1 1, ABCD on, as we saw here, AD and BC it will be off. And if it is in position number 1, SW1, this is in position 2. That means what? This is in 1 and this is in 2. What happens? If it is ABCD, then it is off because we don't have a path. But if it is a AD and BC, so if it is AD and BC, it will go like this. It comes like this, AD and like this. So we have a path, switch is on. Similarly, we can have different combination for the SW1, 2 1, 2 1, 2 2, 2 2, and based on this position, either it is off or on. This is the complete explanation is there. Now, what is a electric shock and what precaution should be taken when a person comes in a contact with a live wire of the electric supply? He gets an electric shock. Electric shock depends on the following parameters: the magnitude of the voltage. The magnitude, how much is the voltage, is a big factor. So if it is a household voltage, many of you must have experienced the electric shock. Okay, as the voltage rises, its severity will increase. Time for which the current passes through the body means how long a particular person is in contact with that live wire. So that time is also important factor. Frequency of the current and physical and psychological condition of the person. So if the person is young, very young kids or older people, so impact would be more. So it depends on the physical and the psychological condition of the person. What are the precautions should be taken? We should not panic. Whenever a person is having a electric shock, when he is having the electric shock, we should not be touching him with the bare hands. We should make sure that if you know the switch, you should immediately go to the switch and go to the main switch and switch it off, so that there will not be flow of the electric current. If you are not able to locate any switch, then you have to make sure that you take some kind of a blanket. So basically, you have to take some kind of a insulator. Maybe it is a stick or anything, a blanket. You should make sure that you won't get in touch with the person who is experiencing electric shock. If it is a blanket can be put and the victim can be pulled out of that contact with the live wire, or if there is a stick, the person can be pushed against that contact. Okay, so pushed against the contact so that there is a break in the circuit, so that person will not be having a live touch with that particular live wire. So once you have made sure that victim is not in touch with the live electrical wire, you have to make sure that whether he is breathing or not. Okay, the first immediate thing that should be done is medical emergency uh, 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 assistance should be given by calling the doctor or the ambulance, and proper medical assistance should be given. And we have to make sure that the uh, impact of the electric shock, it depends. People might go conscious, there might be burning. So the impact will depend on how long and what kind of electricity was there. So those are the based on that factors, there will be a impact, and according to that treatment should be given. And if a person is unconscious, we should not be giving any kind of a water. We should make that they get a immediate medical assistance, medical treatment. They should be taken to the hospital. Next is earthing. Earthing, I told you, very important concept. What is earthing? Earthing is it is a like a protective measure that is taken, similar to other protective devices like fuses and MCBs. Earthing is also important. Whenever we have a proper earthing in our house, all the equipments external body that is connected to the earthing. So in your household, you have, even though you have two phase of electricity, in the pin you will see there are three pins. The top pin is nothing but the earthing point. What it will do is it is connected to the body of the equipment. Suppose you have the refrigerator or washing machine, the outer body, the metallic body, that is connected to the that particular earthing. If there is any fault current inside your washing machine or a fridge, that fault current will flow through the earth. Even if you touch that equipment, you will not feel the any kind of a earthing if there is any kind of a fault. So that is how it is also a protective mechanism that can be used. There are two types of earthing. One is a pipe earthing, and the second one is the plate earthing. In case of a pipe earthing, this is a concrete chamber. What you are saying, this is a ground level, and inside the ground we have all this structure. So here what we have is this is the ground, and inside this we have a concrete structure. It is a chamber, and inside the chamber we will have a funnel and a lug that is connected to the GI pipe. So this is the galvanized iron pipe, and it is in the depth of about 4 to 5 feet inside the ground. They will be digging. This pipe will be there, and this pipe is connected to another bigger pipe. Okay, GI pipe, which will be having a holes, and this is placed inside a mixture. Okay, and what is that mixture? It is a mixture of a layer of charcoal and salt. Okay, charcoal and salt. Okay, it is placed inside that. So all this mechanism, what it does is it provides a very least resistance path. So this resistance would be very less, about less than 2 ohms. Okay, that this mechanism is connected to, and this whole thing is connected to one earthing wire. So from here we take the earthing wire, and this is the earthing wire that we use in our household. That is the third point that we talked about. If there is any fault current in that any part of our house, that earthing current will flow to the ground. Instead of flowing through your body, it will flow through the ground. That is how it will protect the human from the electric shock. So this kind of a uh, earthing, pipe earthing. This will be used in every household. So where you want to have a good earthing, this type is used, and this moisture, whatever the moisture, whatever the mixture we have here, it should be kept moist. Okay, then only the resistance will be less. How to during rainy season there will not be any problem. It will be moist. During the summer season, what we do is like this is the funnel through which they on a regular basis they will put the water, and they will make sure that the mixture is moist and it will have the low resistance. So it is very important question. You have to draw the need diagram, label everything, and explain how the construction and how it will the earthing wire is taken, and how it will help with the safety of the household equipment. So similar to the pipe earthing, plate earthing, only difference here is everything is same. We will be having funnel, GI pipe. It is connected to the, instead of a GI pipe inside, there will be a GI plate, galvanized iron plate will be there, and this plate will be kept in the mixture of layers of the charcoal and the salt, and this is kept moist in order to have a very low resistance, so that maximum current will flow through the earthing. And to this plate we make connect a wire. This wire is taken as the earthing wire in our household connection.